Welcome to Inside the Boardroom, where we sit down with executives in the mining industry and crystallize major corporate updates as best as we can. Today, we're looking at a rare earth alternative in Quebec with Indigenous community backing. Scandium Canada says that they have the world's only primary deposit of scandium, which is a metal that makes aluminum stronger than steel. Guy Bourassa, great to see you again. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
If we can start with some context for our audience, help us understand why a primary deposit of scandium matters in today's environment.
Well, it is very significant. Currently, 100% of the supply of scandium comes as a byproduct of another mineral being mined, usually titanium or nickel laterites. So it's always subject to the main mineral being mined. You cannot increase your supply to meet increased demand. So the fact that you have a primary source means that if market evolves, you can increase your production rate and meet the additional demand. It's very significant because it's going to show as a long-term, reliable, secure source of supply. Very important to jumpstart numerous applications that are just waiting to be reassured about a long-term supply.
Now, against that backdrop, you recently closed a $334,000 financing with the Naskapi Nation. This is considered unique. It's an Indigenous nation that's investing their own money into a project. Can you break down the structure here and what it could also tell us about your relationship with the community?
Yeah, it is not common. I've done it in the past with the Cree Nation of Nemaska about 15 years ago. It was a success. So we wanted to replicate this with the Naskapi. They early on indicated to us that they wanted to be more involved than just be on the receiving end with royalties and training and things like this. They wanted to be involved in the decision process. What type of road, what type of facilities, what can we bring additional? And one of the idea was, well, maybe we could become a shareholder to start with and then decide if we could even become joint venture partners and be co-owner of a mining operation. So the initial step is taking 5% of the capital of the company, and we'll see from there. But definitively, it indicates a very interesting shift in the mentality of First Nations, and very, very glad that we've been able to strike that initial deal with the Naskapi.
Well, moving on to your latest metallurgical results, your 500 kilo pilot test results showed 99.5% purity scandium oxide and 77% overall recovery. How do these numbers stack up against what you need commercially, and what are economic implications here?
Well, commercially, definitively the purity that we get from the scandium oxide with this flow sheet after the 500 kilo, we meet all the criteria for usual scandium oxide being sold on the market. Also, because our preliminary economic assessment of 2022 also talks about the production of aluminum scandium 2% master alloy. So that mixing your scandium oxide with aluminum, 2% of it is going to be scandium oxide. That's the usual material that you're going to be selling to a alloy manufacturer. It enters into their recipe. So we meet all of these criteria. The 77% is very interesting from ore to the scandium oxide because obviously it has a direct implication on the number of tons that you have to put through the hydrometallurgical plant, transport, etc., etc. It's the first time we were able to add a complete flow sheet from the ore to the finished product. That is a very good number that we were able to achieve. Talking about this, we were very satisfied with the results of this piloting, but we just received a subsidy from the Ministry of Natural Resources in Quebec to further some metallurgical testing, specifically on the concentrator side of it, not the hydrometallurgy. Hydrometallurgy, we're very satisfied with it, but we're always aiming to be able to concentrate as much as possible the ore so that we minimize the transport costs and obviously the cost of transformation in the hydromet plant. So we just recently started a 800 kilo batch with COREM in Quebec, laboratory in Quebec, to be able to test different alternatives on how to get the best concentrate so that we lower the transport costs. It's going to take about 20 weeks to complete, and the results of this matched with the SGS 500 kilo will be obviously reflected in the pre-feasibility study.
If we look at your drilling program from 2024, resulted in a 38% increase in indicated resources. What did the fieldwork reveal about the deposit size, and how does it feed into your pre-feasibility study?
Well, the 2024 drilling program that evolved to a new mineral resource estimate in April 2025, yeah, you're right, showed a 30% increase in the indicated resources. As you know, only indicated resources can be transformed into mining reserves when you go through the pre-feasibility and the feasibility stage. It was very important so that we can get at least 25, 30 years of potential reserves from these tons. What we did is that we confirmed by infill drilling that the TG zone is now at least 550 meters long and is going to be seen as a single deposit. In the past, it was probably two different lobes apart. Now it's all attached. It increased the quality of the resources, but also demonstrated that it's still open in all directions and even at depth. But to the east and to the west, we believe that we can definitively continue increasing it. There's no need today to increase again the resources to go through feasibility level, because we're going to have at least 30, 35 years of reserves when we complete the mineral reserve estimate. And therefore, we're concentrating our efforts, our know-how, and our money on the metallurgy and all of the logistic issues around that mining project in Nunavik.
So what I'm gathering is that when it comes to assessing your remaining exploration potential, it's very positive. So that will be the focus moving forward. But to close, what else should investors kind of look out for in the next few months when we're looking and assessing Scandium Canada?
Well, as you mentioned, scandium is a critical mineral. It's on the critical mineral list of the Canadian government and other governments around the world. With the new government in place in Ottawa, there has been lately a big shift toward granting money to accelerate infrastructure development required to put in operation strategic minerals. Obviously, we did apply for grants under the Critical Mineral Infrastructure Fund program. This year, it's interesting, there was a possibility to file a demonstration of interest to qualify to see if what you were aiming to subsidize was in the program. We were confirmed that our engineering work, environmental work towards the access road can be subsidized. So we filed the definitive documents, and we're expecting, hopefully, September, October, to have a confirmation of this. We already have also applied for a grant to do a large pilot of about 15 tons of material, 10 to 15 tons, so that we can get that flow sheet metallurgical to the FEL3 level, which is for the feasibility study. So I would say the next couple of months going to be very, very active for us, and hopefully we get these two grants awarded, and that will absolutely jumpstart the project towards completing a feasibility study in the next 24 months.
Okay, well, we'll leave it there, Guy, and we'll see you back here soon.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Guy Bourassa, CEO of Scandium Canada. It's ticker SCD on the Toronto Venture Exchange. Thanks for watching.